Hi, welcome to Smileys. We are still with Fall of Light, Chapter 7, and this is Part 2.
Yep.
If somehow you landed here with no other context, you know, unless you are
Yeah.
living dangerously, go back to Part 1, start there, and then come back here. So again,
We'll wait.
it's still Lee.
Yeah,
It's
still
still
me.
Lee who is doing the summarizing, and
Yep.
yeah, let's start.
So I ran out of words to use for the for the titles. So I've named scene
Oh.
4
Oh,
Whore as Goddess and Goddess as Whore because I thought that was a really interesting analogy.
Okay.
But whatever, we're gonna get to that. So last episode, I suppose, which was about 15 minutes ago from now, we made the Sarah essentially decked two dudes in the face, and she said she wanted to see the banner of white stained red to make a point. And she couldn't think of what the point was. So, on the topic of that point, we got to Renar in her tent, who is joined by a soldier who, curiously, is not interested in wine nor sex. Indeed, what he wants to talk about is his crimes, since he's unable to discuss such things openly with squad mates. This is a good place to put a trigger warning if you've reached Chapter 7 Full of Light somehow without being triggered. Yeah. Anyway.
What is a trigger warning here?
The usual.
Hardly. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, I have completely blocked it. Yeah. Good.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
there
if you
is a trigger
somehow
warning.
reach Chapter
I
7
have.
of Full of Light without being triggered,
Yeah.
well, Anyway, trigger warning. So, Lenore is somewhat unimpressed by this. Her offer of escaping this world's horrors was mutual. And not just for the soldier, but nobody thinks of such things when requesting the services of a prostitute. And she makes it very clear to the soldier that she cannot help him for much beyond listening. Though cold, the soldier concedes that she might just offer him what he needs most, righteous condemnation. Renar is again unimpressed, but the soldier goes on, detailing how his company of three squads, hunting deniers as it were, sexually assaulted and then murdered a family of 3 denied children and their mother. Yeah.
Can you just quickly say, because we have finished reading this, that what he's actually looking for is not condemnation and judgment from her, but from his commander.
Yeah.
So let's just because that's not the first time, that's not what you think, when you're reading the first time. Right.
Though he assures Renar that he did not touch them, their ghosts will not leave his skull. Renar is confused by this admission. This confession was not for her ears. Indeed, such a confession would see the entire company hanged. She asks the logical question, have they reported to their captain yet? And is answered by a rage-filled reply that the captain sent them into the camp in the first place, and could hear the mother scream for an escalade. And what was she doing? And you can tell what the implication of what she was doing is.
What is
Anyway,
that? What is that? What is the implication? I thought you'll have an answer. Do we know this squad already?
We can make a pretty educated guess.
There's so many.
Of both. Of both what she was doing, which was amusing herself, and the squad, which my guess is that it's the Fire Menan squad.
Okay. That would make sense. But what is this euphemism for amusing herself?
She's touching herself. How else can I put this? I don't know.
What? Fine. I'm not going to respond to this, yeah?
Yeah, no, people are great in the Legion, yeah. Anyway, Renar catches on and stops the soldier from going on, and instead replies that Hunral, strictly speaking, is not next on the chain of command. So reasonably, the soldier should just go to Rosander and report this. The man is seemingly shocked by this, then stands up abruptly, replying that she cannot know, hiding out here, which is a reply that Renar did not expect, and the implications both chill and anger her. What did he expect when he sought her out? That she would deliver such a confession to the man himself? Does he believe that Renar spent her time in the whore camps because she's bored? The two are evidently not on speaking terms. Yeah, the dear lass. God, this is so...
Yeah, he sends her down to the whole camp. This, again, the narrator, he does this so nicely. He puts the exact tone, he doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss any of these, implications in these lines. It's very good.
I can't remember, to be honest with you, but I'll take your word for it.
Can you see me getting more and more impressed with the audiobooks with each week? And again, Hunral, I think you mentioned it long ago.
Hunral is amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Hunral slurs words. He sounds drunk.
Inner monologue, just his thoughts are so drunk. It's so good. Yeah.
Me lord. Yeah, okay, well, yeah.
You silly Tara. Yeah.
The two are evidently not on speaking terms, as Lysander pointedly ignored her the last time the two were in bed together. But, of course, with his blessing, she spends her days and nights in the prostitute tents. For fun. Unfazed, and with Renar knowing there's no going back for him, the soldier begs her to deliver Lysander's justice on his behalf. Death seems to be his only escape, and that's something Renar somewhat concurs with, as he is still haunted by those three children they assaulted. Indeed, Renar replies, how sad for him, and he would be haunted by three-year-old boys when he didn't even take part. But, of course, the mother's assault was all well and good, was it not? Her ghost wanders elsewhere, and yet these three boys still haunt him. How sad. Could it be that because they watched Honest rape their mother? She will not be the coward's path. He wants justice, he can deliver it all on his own. Lysander would accept an audience with a soldier of his legion, whereupon justice would promptly be delivered, as befits the crime. Alas, were he to go to Lysander himself, yeah?
Can you take a second to just appreciate how amazing this is? How she cuts him without, oh, it doesn't matter. It's only those three boys. How sad for it. It is so biting. It's worse than what kind of justice he could have received from anyone else. Please, I just wanted to gush over that.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I have plenty of time to gush over Renar. Don't worry about it. Alas, were he to go to Lysander himself, everyone among his squad would know that he was the snitch that ratted them out, and that would gall, even as they hung on the gallows. This way, by going through Renar, nobody would question his loyalty. The very pointed implication that he's a coward, which he denies, which only further demeans him. And so Renar makes it abundantly clear, from the moment he stepped into the forest to now, he has acted only as a coward would. I made another note here. Renar's litany of, all the different acts he's made and how challenging it must have been to kill denied children and whatnot, is actually a common critique of Imperial Britain, most prominently in Irish folk songs, which there's a specific one. Yeah, because, the Brits, especially after like the 1800s, would mostly focus overseas, where they would just bear down their full imperial, technological, and industrial might upon like the Zulus, who had, as the song goes, spears and arrows, or the Arabs, and whatnot. And like, it's not, at least as far as these individuals are concerned, it was not particularly worthy of pride. And the implication is they're cowards, that's the implication the song makes, and the implication that Renar also makes here.
If you have a link or something, just send it to me later.
It's a song by, it's composed in like the 50s, I think, about the Irish Independence War. It's one of the more famous ones. It's called Come Out Ye Black and Tans. Black and Tans were a paramilitary group in Ireland. I won't understand
if you're saying these words, so that's why I'm asking you for a link.
I'm going to send you a link later. I'm going to leave a link below. It's just,
sure. Yeah.
Just because of certain things happening in Ireland during the 70s and 80s, the Girls in Derry.
The what?
The Girls in Derry series that you were talking about.
That's the 90s, the Troubles. Yeah.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah, it continued till the 90s. Yeah, it went on. AP talks about it once in a while, that he grew up in that time, right?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, you Gen Z. You don't even think that people would be born in those decades,
I don't know.
Oh my God.
It's a bit, yeah. I mean, I'm rather on the other side of Europe, from Northern Ireland.
It's not just about Europe. You're on the other side of the millennium of 2000.
That too. We got way off track. My bad.
I know. It's okay.
But anyway, the basic implication that he's a coward and he fights as a coward would and he acts as a coward would, and now he's seeking the cowardly way out. All of which are true, by the way. So the man draws his gutting knife, and Renar steps back, asking to see his one moment of courage before he violently slits his own throat, with eyes suddenly triumphant. Yes?
No, give me then your one moment of courage. So this one, it could mean that even if he kills her, that would still be a courageous act. Right? If he kills the commander's daughter, it would still be a courageous act. So it doesn't matter whether he was going to commit suicide or kill her. That would be his one moment of courage. Right?
Right. So she reminisces on this. The soldier has made of her tent a temple and her his priestess. She also could not stop looking at his body, thinking of ways of leaving. The soldier left, but left his body behind as well. Guests will
Now,
leave a mess.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is going to clean it up? Yeah, we need some
Guests
people
will leave a
beneath
mess,
notice.
and it falls to the host to clean up the mess. Santara. Right.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to add about this particular instance?
No, I'm just having fun because this whole chapter could just be called, fathers and cleaning messes, because that's what's happening repeatedly.
Mhm.
Each section is about cleaning up other people's messes.
Yep.
And
So, the horde tents are no temple, but more and more confessions seem to be uttered on the daily. Not as sordid as this one, to be sure, but when a temple dedicated to light is right there, well, the irony is palpable. Alas,
no, that's not
Santara, yeah?
dark with the other thing, right? They just fused everything together. So the temples have priestesses who will just take you to bed and get you can confess to them or pray with them or whatever. So there's no separation like in light.
I'm not
You're not sure if that has started yet. I'm pretty sure it is.
No, I'm not sure if confessions happen during sexy times.
I mean, in the sense, the role of confession, right? That's what this guy is doing. It's not the Christian idea of confession, of getting absolution or something. It's about the act of just opening up with someone who will tell you morally whether you're right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that happen? How would that not happen if you're meeting priestesses in dark?
The ostensible idea behind the sexadimes is that they're in communion, with Mother Dark, which would kind of be ruined if they're, listening to some guy talk about how he murdered 3 kids in an alley.
But that's the point. Like, it would still be. I don't know. That would be like opening up completely vulnerably. That this is what I've done. This mistake. I've done these wrong things. Wouldn't that be a safe place to open up?
I mean, yeah, probably. I'm just not sure if they would do it while doing the act itself.
We are so out of our league talking about this. Yeah.
True enough. Alas, Santara is not much interested in confessions. Renard concludes that these moments are matters of faith, and she recalls the aftermath of the Battle of the Wardens. As many fallen soldiers abandoned their faiths in god and goddesses, they may have taken up and instead call out to their mothers, and if you think this is Galan making a point, much like it in the monologue, you'll be right. Yeah, this is basically almost verbatim.
Yeah. Go on.
No, you want to say something? No?
No, I think it's the next section, faith and faiths.
Right, that faith is unfortunately not for Renard. Shellas is much too far away, much too vague, too formless for her to call upon. Not even in her dying moments. Yikes. But moreover, the soldiers' mothers are also too far away, as are the goddesses and gods. So, we're back. Apologies. Yeah. So, who does that leave? The whore, of course. All faith reduces to the basest of needs.
In her person. Galen, the PC way to call Renard is, a camp follower, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. It's more of an umbrella term, but yes.
Yeah, but you know what you mean when you say camp follower. You don't mean she's a cook.
I mean, not for Renard. In general,
you never mean she's a cook, yeah.
But in general, yeah, that would be a thing. That camp followers would be, among other things, prostitutes. So, all faith, therefore, reduces to the basis of needs in her person, all for a few coins. Clearly established power dynamics, payment and reward, an answer to those very base needs. What more could a faith need? Renard picks up her heaviest cloak and strides off to meet her adopted father. Along the way, she thinks back to the soldier that just took his own life in her tent. There was something in his eyes that, as he slit his throat, that fascinated her. Did he find a way out from the torment in his last moments? Or did he simply seek to pass on his guilt to another person, as cowards are wont to do? If so, he failed, the poor misguided fool. But there was a measure of irony in Renard's journey to the keep. She thinks on her Sander. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. She thinks he failed in his, his idea to pass over the guilt. But, she is doing what he wanted her to do anyway.
Yep.
She's going up, yeah.
So she thinks on her Sander and names him father, proper noun, capital F. And how she carries a plaintive cry for absolution. or more like a lot of cries for absolution. His soldiers have lost their faith beyond the renting of her flesh, yikes again, which reassures the world that faith remains secure so long as coin is involved. Indeed, the high priestess should pay heed. Confessions are to be bought, so that the believers understand how the bargain is made. Eventually, every temple will be sheathed in gold, provided that Shantara and her priestesses don't set out a course of hard justice, just follow the road, as dead sinners are no longer generous and no longer compelled to rent the easing of their guilt. Renara closes out her monologue by thinking on how making a goddess of a whore and a whore of a goddess, no points for guessing who that is, must be confusing. But it all works out in the end. God. So a few things. One, that's fucking traumatizing. She may not say so, but a guy just walked in, killed himself for 10th, and yeah, that's I'll leave a mark.
Yeah.
Second, this is a rather pointed, not necessarily of religion itself, but rather religious structures, which is quite common in Karkanos, because, faiths get corrupted. What Ral said earlier, what we've seen with the Sheikh, lead unto each and every child. And even in our world, I hesitate to bring up Christianity in every other episode, but one of the main reasons...
It's not your fault.
One of the main...
Yeah, go on, tell me, No.
One of the main driving forces behind the Protestant Reformation was actually the buying indulgence for your sins. As in, you could just go to church, or your local papal representative, pay him a hefty sum of money, and you would just get a paper or the equivalent of essentially your sins are absolved and you're going to go to heaven. That didn't fly because that was not in the book, and very clearly went beyond any principles that you could reasonably twist, and just it was too blatant basically for anyone to actually accept. That we had Lutheranism, Calvinism, and all the different sects that sprang up from there. You wanted to say something?
I want to say that one of the richest temples in the world is, I don't know if it's just among all religious institutions or just temples, but I've heard things about there is one temple here called Tirupati, which is supposed to be like one of the richest in the world. I'm not sure by which metric they say that, but it's there. And it's because people go and give money and gold and stuff to absolve themselves. That's how it works. So you're either praying to get some cure, or you're wishing for happiness or something, or it's because you have gained money through some unlawful means and you give half of it to God and think, you're absolved. So that's the whole thing. So it's not just exclusive to Christianity. I thought.
That's the one thing that's for certain.
I'm just looking up. Is it really the richest in the world? Because that's what I've been told all the time. Among the world's richest. And it's so crowded. I've stopped going there. I used to go as a child. I actually liked because, there's a nice trek. It's a long, hours together. You have to trek up the hill. You can take a bus or you can trek up. And there are lots of people doing the same trek with you. And there are lots of, shops selling juices and all these things on the roadside. So it's good fun, actually. It's nice. The whole atmosphere is very nice. But, it's so crowded and it's so commercialized. And then they started having a dress code. So that's when I stopped. When I was a child, we didn't have dress codes in temples. It's become a norm now. But I go because to please other people. I don't go for myself. But now with the dress code, I don't go anymore. Go
on. Any more comments we'll like to make?
No, please go on. I don't want to disturb you.
So scene 5, which I have affectionately named Go Screw Yourself Santara, or rather, Go On Screwing Yourself.
Oh, it's that scene. Oh, God,
I think I've made it beyond clear that these scenes are sorted, but, this is one of the more sorted scenes in this chapter. So, The symbolism of the new Temple of Light being built on Gurren's smithy is not lost on Hunral. Karl Galane's
but
meteoric...
it's not mentioned by name that
No,
it's
it's just
Gurren
an
or
old
it's
smithy,
Renard's
but
father.
he's the only smithy. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But it's not mentioned by name.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have the connection to Renard.
No, that's the other irony that he does miss. That I didn't mention. But yeah, he catches on like, oh yeah, we're of course exalting ironwork, but he doesn't realize that like that's the father of daughter light for real this time. But anyway, if we start diving into the symbolism of how much Conral misses, we're gonna be here all day. So Colonel Galane's meteoric rise, after all, owed to their iron smithies and forges. It was only natural that such things would be venerated. Not that Centaura would understand such notions. What Centaura wished was to constrict the holy and divine to very specific manifestations and to desecrate all she deemed profane. Religion, he believed, was merely the marriage of base acquisitiveness with holiness. Any worship lying beyond that which the temples delineated as holy was akin to heretical, and so the priesthood would grow richer on the proceeds. Now, Hunral understood the religions of Girl Galane. The deniers were dangerous, too open in their worship, not confined to temples, while the House of Light and the Sheikh, each with their own profane, venal ambitions, made sense. But not the worship of Mother Dark, the worship of absence. Or was it the absence of worship? Emerald must have a monumental task ahead of her, and so is it any wonder she seeks out so many lovers? More slut shaming from the number 2 biggest slut in Girl Galane. No. Rosander can have Mother Dark if he can find her. And then he goes on to the weirdest fucking litany.
Yeah.
I don't
get it. Is it any weirder than what Ilga Stren thinks in Forge of Darkness?
No, but at the very least he's being ironic there. You know, like this is... he goes down this thought line and says, hang on, I might have a point actually.
Yeah. I think that's the difference, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Though he does actually get almost close enough to an interesting thought while talking about consummating the marriage. Men have a thing for comforting places. Gods below.
God, why? What?
But what is it they seek? Oblivion or sanctuary? This does harken back. Yeah.
That segues to Draconis.
Yeah. We're gonna get to that. We're getting to that too.
Yeah.
So this harkens back to Renard's thoughts about Hor as goddess, but since this is Ral, it's all cruder. And just to drive home the point, we learn that throughout this monologue on religion and faith, Ral has been getting head while he has to kill a dick, which is just crude.
Okay, I see now that you're using it. Let's amuse herself because that's the line he uses. I should have known.
God, I hate. I'm trying my best, guys. I really am. He's just awful. So, now that he's ensured that the maid he's banging won't distract him, and I've taken a note here. Good God, what am I writing? And I have to concur. So he goes back to his favorite notion: murder. Indeed. Murder is of utmost necessity in a religion, though perhaps it may be necessary to wait.
Just him trying to, get an erection because he's not able to perform. So he's trying to think of thoughts which please him.
No, I think he's doing the exact opposite. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. God. Told you, sorted. Anyway, so it may be necessary to wait for a couple generations, but best be proactive. Have the engineers design gutters to keep the blood from sight, and let's paint the temple blood red. Oh, Centaur decried Ral's bloodthirst, the husk, the deniers, the board towards the wardens. God damn it. But all that was necessary, even the Sheikh. But later, the nobles need to be humiliated first. The Purake brothers must be made to kneel, Draconis must be cast away. The world does admit to a moderate admiration for the consort as he dove headfirst in the darkness. And he almost pities him, since no man deserves to be twice cast out of the womb. Yeah.
Which is just idiotic, if you ask me. So.
Right, no. We digress too much. Back to murder. And more accurately, Sintara and her congregation's murder after the wedding of Mother Dark and Ursander. As one does. In the meantime, Ral casually informs the audience that he's adept enough with sorcery to know that this maid is dead, and the flicker of life within her is Sintara's efforts to animate her. He is simultaneously amused and disgusted by this, since he may be base, a drunk, but he won't fuck a corpse, because I suppose you have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, he has his principles, come on.
Yeah, he's a principled man, is our Honral. In any case, when next they meet, they'll have plenty to say about a common topic, namely desecration. And indeed, perhaps they'll have plenty to discuss about magic and sorcery and natural worship of power. Beside Ral, the maid went on and on and on. Sorted. Just sorted.
Oh, you're not going to repeat that line, is it? Go screw yourself.
Oh, no, there's no need. Yeah, and go on screw yourself. We have all night after all. Yeah. Sorted.
All right. Next thing.
Then we get actually back to some somewhat interesting things. Yeah, things need cleaning up first.
Captain Serap. What did he call this?
Things need cleaning up first. Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Sharina Zankadu makes her way to a sheeted figure in the back of a crowded, gloomy tavern. She's been too long in the company of legionnaires, men and women whom she once trusted, but notices that the trust is no longer reciprocated. The comfort found in the company of strangers is oddly comforting. The truth was, the sword cut both ways, and even the honorable and dutiful men and women were bound to its laws, even Sharina's. She finds Captain Serap and offers her condolences, though, as we saw, Serap is in no such pensive mood. Instead, she mentions how they were all there, en route to Cal Sustain, with Sharina's Abdullah's side while the two were giggling, newfound lieutenant ranks, so quickly lost to the winds following their first battles, and Serap remarks that they were young then. Yes?
Can you please just slow down a little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Hunral was most eager to lead back then, and even now he's gathered all his crimes beneath his wing. Murder, betrayal, poisoning, oh my. Serap replies that while such acts may seem crass, they are, they all have an ultimate purpose of keeping Ursander unstained, which, if that sounds at all familiar, that would be because Rise and Emerald made a very similar point in Chapter 2.
Did it?
Okay. Yep. About how if would Ursander come into the Citadel awash in blood? No. It cannot be a child of Leosan that kills Draconis. It must be someone else.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No, such crassness is a deceit, and that's inherent in the family. Callback. Anyway, Sharina wondered about this. Hunral's drunk, but he can't be that drunk. But still, a wedding party? Oh, Serap replies, the hushed are beyond notice. Mundane soldiers are always substituted for those with noble blood in the eyes of their kin, are they not? Sharina what smiles and asks if Serap now stands with Ral. Yeah?
It's kind of correct, right? What she's asking?
No, she's not wrong. Sharina admits to as much later that she's going to stand with her blood. She's not wrong, and Sharina isn't wrong either. But yeah, the fact they're both right doesn't make them good. Anyway. She asks if Serap now stands with Ral, and she isn't corrected. However, Serap is willing to give her life in defense of her soldiers if need be. When Sharina points out that Ral probably wouldn't do the same, Serap looks away and changes the topic. Has the captain reported to Ursander yet? Sharina takes like a sip of ale, it tastes like shit, before asking Serap how she would react if she learned that Ursander had been informed of Ral's crimes, and moreover, Sharina has enough evidence to see him and plenty of other captains hanged at the gallows. Serap laughs, which is answer enough, and Sharina disappointedly concurs. This was a man they would follow unquestioningly, but they were all young ones. No, Sharina will not stand against Ral. Not yet, anyhow. Things need cleaning up first.
Yeah. And?
When Serap asks how she intends to clean things up, Sharina takes her head clean off with a quick sword slice, wipes her sword on Serap's cloak, finishes her watered ale, plants a coin next to the finished jug, turns around, and heads for the Legion camp. It was going to be a long night.
It was so surprising when I was reading the first time.
Oh, God, yes.
It came so out of nowhere, right? This is coffee.
Especially if you've noticed that Sarah Pesgin is the name of Calor's wife from the Crippled God, whom allegedly poisoned herself, and now, okay, I wonder when they meet, and it's just clean off.
You know what? In NotME, who's that other guy? Eriko. He says there have been lots of high kings named Calor. There could have been lots of Isgins named Serap. So, yeah. I don't think it need not be the same Calor with the same Serap.
Right. Not the same Calor? Right, okay.
Yeah, Eriko says there are plenty of... Yeah.
Okay.
What's the next one?
Yeah, scene 7, I have named There's a Dead Woman in My Bedroom, which is just...
Yeah, that's nice.
Very deadpan.
Yeah. It's very good. Yeah, you tend to choose deadpan titles, is what I've noticed.
Yeah. So, Serap's murder has not gone as unnoticed as Serena's would hope. Hunral, Magnus Ascendant, newfound warlock, etc., has taken notice. He grips the maid's neck and informs Sindara that Serap has been murdered, throws the girl across the room, sobers himself up using magic, nifty, and severs Sindara's connection with the maid, which, of course, reveals the illusion for what it truly was. The woman's dead. Geared up, Hunral leaves the chamber and orders a guard to take a detailed tour of Sander's chambers and inform another that there's a dead woman in my bedroom, which is indeed unfortunate. If nothing else, it will harm Hunral's reputation, and we can't have that.
No, he says he doesn't mind the rumors.
I mean, he says that, just another sordid rumor to wear, just another sordid cloak to wear. These burdens are enough to make a man drink. Yeah. I mean, he's very clearly ironic, but, still. In any case, Sindara has a newfound obsession with corpses, and everyone should be on the lookout for such undead puppets. The corpse ought to be removed, and Rawls...
Look at what it's doing now.
Oh.
Okay,
well,
I'll just listen to you.
Yeah.
No, go on, I can listen.
Right, the corpse ought to be removed, and Rawls suggests burying it in the refuse heap beneath the kitchen chute, which should sound familiar, because that's where Sander was standing earlier. So
it is not like a small, like a handful of waste there. It's like big enough for a body
he was,
to
like,
bury
ankle
there.
deep. Yeah, he was like ankle deep in that shit.
Yeah, so it's a lot. Right?
He was ankle deep because he was it was leaking from the chute into the keep. So it was like
outside.
stuffed full there.
I thought the chute meant it's something you throw from above.
Yeah, no?
And then everything just collects at the bottom.
But anyway, yeah. I look stupid now. Anyway, the point is symbolism.
Yeah, right. Symbolism. So she mentions. So, I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah. So he also insists on further defiling the corpse in case it comes back. It won't. And they eventually land on a shallow grave with a burial detail comprised of people the guard trusts, and of course, nobody should trust anything the high priestess says or does. Excuse me.
No, it's not just a shallow grave. You have to cut off its legs, cut off its arms.
That's what defiling the corpse means. But yeah.
Oh, okay. No, this is the Legion. This is Hunral.
Right, yeah. Wrong defile. Yeah. My bad. A small company.
Envy and spite.
Right. In the Velvet Malice burn. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So a small company of 5 squads of Khaled's Gold should be stationed at the nearby barracks, and Rawl heads over there to dispatch the necessary troops to begin the manhunt. 2 squads to find Serap, 2 squads with him, and 1 to guard the barracks and surrounding area. With that, Hunral sets off to Nerd Sor on a manhunt for Sharina Zangadu.
Okay.
It was actually a relatively quick scene. Even more sordid because, there's a dead woman in my bedroom. By the way, just don't ask questions. Don't worry about it. It just happened. So scene 8, I have named I Will Make Amends Renar, which is one of the more heartbreaking scenes in this chapter, I think. I quite like it.
Sort of. It's very nice, but I felt...
But you don't care about either Sander or Renar, so,
Why don't I care about Renar? When did I say I don't care about Renar? No, it was more heartbreaking when he met Sharina than in this scene. I felt more pity for him there than here.
Right. I don't feel... Okay. Right.
I mean, she's not pitiable as such, but I will make comments, and it's just, you should have the what's it mean. So that turned out to be a lie. You know,
So the company rides off with Hunral on the vanguard, and Renard has just about enough time to get out of their way.
Hmm.
When questioned about what she's doing here, she claims she has been summoned by her father, which is in lowercase. The guards look quizzical, but they quickly think of an excuse, showing that they'll just come through, and Renard plays along. Turns out, agents of Lord Onamander have been backstabbing Legion officers in the town below. Best stay in the keep for the night. She moves on.
see how the rumors have spread and expanded. This is why we need social media.
Yeah. We need Twitter.
Group texts. The Legion should have Slack
no,
channel
it's
or
just
something.
What was it? The Twitter additional context information.
Users added context.
Yeah, Hunral posts something and it's just below fact checked by real Andy or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
the courtyard was lined with frost and guards were abound. She had probably taken a handful to her bed, but she can't quite tell on this distance. Renard then takes to her mind's landscape and addresses her father, proper noun. She knows the soldiers better than he does, their fears, their desires, their wants and needs. It all blurs together, the heat of sex and the heat of battle, death and love, or what could generally be called love. Tents and temples, beds and altars. Indeed, Renard has become their priestess, or the stand-in for their deities, and thus knows them more intimately than anyone else. She could speak to him about conscience and grief, and ultimately the need of a soldier that no mortal can solve, though she can see that Ursander is trying to maintain what Serap would call the purity of the white banners, or what Renard later calls the inner child, trying to maintain the innocence of the soldiers. And failing, but whatever. They're soldiers. Indeed, tents and temples are all but facades. Between lovers and priests, lovers come to know the shivering child best, while the priests have murdered their inner child long ago. Horrors have never abused children. Yeah?
That was the same thing we saw last chapter, right?
Yeah, we did.
The corpse of a child within. Oh no! This is this chapter. Wasn't it something? Was it all here? Oh yeah, sorry. It's just because I've been reading this chapter so many times. I just assumed it was the last chapter. There was something about Resh. It was that him talking about that old man of a Sheikh monastery.
Yeah. Kaplan Resh thing about
Shana. Yeah, I just mixed them up because this is this chapter that is the old chapter, right?
Whores are abused children because whores know innocence when they see it. And they value it above everything else in life. Priests, those are fine. But we have seen back in Capitalist Monologue 3-4 how many of them take up the vestments for unholy reasons, eager to slay the innocence of each and every child. What do they see? Renard has no answer. The only thing she knows is that within each and every such priest, innocence has long died, and it but waits.
And now?
She reaches her standard chambers, and is derided by the guards, who immediately shut it when she opens the door and steps within. Renard greets her adoptive father, standing over a desk with 4 looking scrolls as he is wanted, and claims that she has so many things to say to him. The resigner looks like a quarter man, not unlike the nameless soldier who took his own life in her tent earlier, and as she pours herself a goblet of wine, her adoptive father says that it's too late for a conversation, and that has nothing to do with that of night.
Yeah.
Renard empathizes, though not without some measure of irony, which just stings. Ursander adopted her because of his love for Shellas, not her. And what did she do? Head to the camps to learn a trade. Perhaps she deemed it fit to punish him, or perhaps she was just rebelling. Whatever the case, she doesn't quite say. Rebellions at this age don't last long. Young men and women flare bright until the belief that it all means something burns away. A circus somewhere out there, flaring bright. Renard, well, she didn't walk that far. That flame was snuffed in the cradle. Yikes. Yeah. No, just I want to make sure that everyone goes yikes.
Yeah.
A measure of hope seems to flare in Ursander's eyes as he asks if Renar has finally decided to return. She replies that she can't tell him her reasons, but she does at last understand why Ursander kept Usurk away from the battlefields. Something about innocence, perhaps.
No,
Her
it's so
father's
nice when she
no?
says, "Of your children, one of us at last
Yeah.
understands your reasons," and that affects him, right?
Yeah, because that's what he wants, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
that's what any father
what
would want.
makes no. I mean, what makes my heart break so much with this scene is that both of them like have the capability to make each other like to give each other what they need, but neither of them can. One because he doesn't know how, because he's dumb. The other because she's too, I don't know. She's dissociating on some level. Like she can't let herself feel pity. We'll get to it now, but it hurts, man. So her father's eyes seem to glisten, albeit she scantly understands why, and the emotion in his eyes shocks her. Mastering herself, Renar speaks to Ursander about his soldiers. A young man came to confess his crimes. Father Light has troubled children. Ursander moves to embrace Renar, but something holds him back, and he instead promises to make amends. She elects to not give in to pity, not that she could find any within her to give, and instead advises Father Light to speak to Santara. The faith she espouses needs to be more than what it is. Innocence dies within the confines of Neretzor, and she needs to provide absolution and hope for the lost. She needs to understand that faith is a two-way street. Otherwise, it just wanes. The tents are not a place for such confessions, and certainly not the bloody kind. Nor can she provide absolution, because there's still things she needs to learn. And this is where he fucks it. This is where Sander fumbles, and he simply replies that he will wait. A response that Renar evidently did not anticipate. She struggles with her cloak's clasp. That's a lot of syllables. And though she accepts her father's offer to stay in her old room tonight, she elects to leave with the dawn, rather than provide the details of the soldier death of Sander. Her last thoughts hinge on the last vestiges of her childhood, and where she ended them now. Who could have imagined the distance between them in the span of a few years?
That is sad, yeah.
And that is sad. It's doubly so sad because you can see that Ursander's trying to do the right thing and be a good father for once, and he just like stops because he says, "Oh, hang on."
Why does he have this apathy? Why is he not able to do things? Is it just his personality is like that, or
I think it's just too much emotion. There's too much cognitive dissonance here. You know, like he doesn't truly do this for Renar. He adopted her because of a vow he made to Shellas and then to Gurren. He already failed with his one son, whom he tried to protect, because he wouldn't understand him, and he just up and left without a word.
Yeah.
So he's stung in that sense, and then Renar comes along and just tries to punish him or rebel against him, and just doubly so her from that. And now he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like it's as Serena said at the beginning of this chapter, a man without daughters knows little of subtlety. He doesn't know what to do or what Renar means. He can't tell what she means. And when he goes, "I will wait," Renar loses it because no, don't send me back there. I don't want to be back there. I want your love. I want to be loved. I want to belong somewhere.
Is that what you think is going on with Renar?
Yeah. At least on some level.
Oh God. Okay, that is not at all what I thought. All I thought is that she has asked him to speak to Sintara, and for some reason he's saying he will wait. And that's why she doesn't like it.
No, he will wait for him to learn. For her to learn. She goes, hang on.
As for absolution,
yeah.
That will have to
Yep.
There are things remaining. Father, that I still need to learn.
And then he goes, "I will wait." Yeah. And that's when she loses her shit.
Okay. No, I don't know if she wants to be accepted by him at any level. That's not something. I don't think Renar is that type of a character, if you ask me.
No?
I don't know. As you said, she is so dissociated from everyone.
I mean, she thinks on her mother and she can't recall her at all, on who she is or what she wants or who she was to her. She's just some vague, formless thing. The only thing she has left is a Rosander, and he's not treating her as a person. She's a ghost to him.
Does it bother her? Do you think?
Yes,
For some
obviously.
reason, I don't think it
Gods
bothers
below,
her at all.
yes.
All right.
God, yes, it does. It really does, and it shows.
I didn't get that thing at all. Yeah.
It's also because, Shellas took a blade for her, and she died defending from assassins, right? And now Rosander is somewhat defiling her memory by not doing what he must. But at the very least, he could hug her for a change. But he doesn't. So that hurts, that galls. Anyway. Yeah, I like Renar. I think it's quite obvious. But yeah, spoiler alert, in case you didn't know, I like Renar. Wow. Right, we only have about 2 pages to go.
I think our podcast officially stands Renar.
Yeah. Oh, we don't stand Renar. We want to hug Renar because she deserves it, really. She needs one.
I'm happy. I'm happy being a fan. I won't hug her if she doesn't ask for it.
Oh yeah, probably.
Silan. Let's talk about Endest's father.
So C9 is named Civil War is a messy business, isn't it? So Silan is
summarized as, if it was my chapter, I would have summarized this as this guy and what's his wife, Estala.
Yeah.
Sharira kills them both, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a lot of some stuff about Orphantel and all that. I don't know why. But how relevant are these things?
Silan was the guy that ambushed the caravan.
Yeah. So he knows that, he lost Orphantel, and I think, what is her name? Seveg was hoping that Estala would kill him. Seveg or
Risp.
Risp was hoping that he would get executed by his wife, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so he's been demoted to this messenger boy, and he doesn't like it.
He's ostensibly little captain, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So, he's growing, as mentioned, a tad sick with being Asala's errand boy. Granted, he fucked up big time, but there's been no obvious or overt repercussions yet, yes? Irony.
I mean...
and though Group Gals and a young boy may have escaped him, well, the storm has passed, and now there's plenty of time to make amends. A rebirth of possibilities, as it were. Now really, his wife has been too cold, too callous, too cruel for too long now. It was about time he finally spoke to her and made clear strengths in tenderness and love. And honestly, he's not even wrong.
Okay.
To reveal tenderness is not a confession of weakness, and even if it is, then we must all know that weakness with someone. You seek to be strong at all times, in all company. It makes you impatient, it makes you cruel. He's not wrong. He's just not a great person, and it kills him. Anyway.
He's just simping for his own wife. That's what I'm seeing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like these guys, and I'm glad they're getting killed now. So.
Okay. That works. So, a cloaked, hooded form nearby approaches him and identifies herself as Captain Serenas. Silan recalls the voice, and the two speak about crimes committed. Civil war is messy, the deaths are many, but such is war, except when it isn't, because the victims are unaware of a war being ongoing, in which case such atrocities are crimes. She has reported to Lord Rosander and compiled details. Few were willing to speak to her, but a handful, among them Grip Gallus and young Orvandal, were. And what she seeks with Estala is similar to what she seeks with him, such a conversation. Silan claims that his wife would not welcome such a conversation at this point in time, and Shrinus concurs, electing to leave his presence, but not before gifting him with a dagger slice from ear to ear.
Yeah.
He topples and dies in some measure of peace, because I guess not being Estala's husband gives you peace. So Shrinus promptly hides the body and enters Estala's tent, taking her hood off. She can't read Estala's expression, though she does not seem overtly hostile, at least not any more than her usual comportment. Her husband will be late. Shorinus run into him on the way from the keep, even though Asala told him to send the rider back. And the meeting had to happen now because Asala had quite the reputation for working through the night and was indeed quite hard in the early mornings.
Yeah.
Alarm bells ring throughout the camp, and Shorinus quickly catches on. They're looking for her. She does her blade, but is unable to dispatch Asala as quickly as she had Serap and Salan. Regardless, Asala had a smiling throat, and Shorinus had but moments before her lieutenant would arrive. Shit. Inwardly, she apologizes to Ursander. She hoped she'd have more time to effectively cleanse the camp. Alas, Shorinus must now ride away, for not all nobles hide in their keeps, but she must look after her own, like, for example, Sukul. Civil war's a messy business, just ask Ripgalis. She had wanted to make sure this camp was purged, for Ursander, for Coral Galain, and perhaps above all, for Gagamandra Tulas.
So
She's grateful that Gagamandra can't see the trail of blood she's left behind, nor the work she left unfinished. Oh, that gals. She cuts through the tent and escapes into the night.
Oh,
Poor
okay.
Shorinus, man.
I know. She's doing this for Kagamandra. Can you believe it? Can you believe how cute that is? Okay.
Anything to say beyond, she killed them both and left?
No.
I mean, that
See,
works.
I
Okay,
told
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
More
yeah,
or less,
no,
that's
that
what
works.
would happen.
And you would delight to hear that we are in our last scene. We're almost done, and I don't
What
even
is
know
the
what the
ti-
fuck the
what is
point
the
of the
title?
scene is. It would be easier if they were the shits we wanted them to be.
Oh, that was such a good line. Such a good line. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Corporal Parlin
Marlin.
Bahan's Silvers has been investigating
Another
Serapis
Silvers.
against the mine, yeah?
Yeah, so many silvers.
Oh. No, this is the same squad.
It's the same
This
one,
is the
yeah.
corporal of the squad, yeah.
No, I think one more of those people who joined Hunral. There was
Yeah, I
one
think
gold
that
and one
would-
silver.
yeah, I think so too. So, humiliation has bred hunger for vengeance and malice in the soldiers, and none among their squad of individuals who got their asses handed to them by Serap not a few hours earlier are too dismayed by her death. Parlin has her subject, showing us Nkadu by the description provided, and so there's no point in further searching the town. The humiliation bred from Serap's dressing down makes her two soldiers eager to pass it on to the four denizens of Nerid Sore. She's tired, at least somewhat angry at the world at large, and then amused, and she knows the same is true of all her soldiers, and so a fight would be imminent. She dispatches a squad to take care of Serap's body, and the remaining squad to take point outside in freezing temperatures, which obviously does not go over well. The four brothers approach Parlin and ask to carry Serap to her final resting place. The corporal informs them that if they stick around they'll probably get shanked, and it would be better they leave. They insist at least let them pay their respect, and failing that, at least catch the murderer. Parlin reassures them, and as they leave, she notices one of her soldiers glaring at her and gets pissed. It would be easier if they were all shits, but alas they are not. Parlin herself called the soldiers out to hunt such people, and they were more than eager to do so. And to Parlin's credit, she does admit her fuck up. Yeah?
At this point, when she says that it would be easier if they were the shits you wanted them to be, we are still reeling from Serap, who is an atrocious human being who was killed by Sharinas, and it was very fun. But still, Serap is, being respected by these four brothers because she stood up for them. So she's not a complete shit. It would be easier if they were the shits you wanted them to be, right? All of them, except your favorite shits. The others are all not completely.
Yeah. Not all of them are shits.
Not that.
Just somewhat
Just
shits.
two. Yeah.
And it's a bit ironic that the biggest shits got to survive. Damn it.
Survive what? Why? What? Are you spoiling something?
No, Sharinas is, Sharinas got the ones who were the least shits of the shits.
Oh, in the sense, right? Yeah.
No,
She
like
should have started
Ral,
with Hunral and
Ral and
True.
Fayan, Santara, Khalid Bahan.
Yeah, even
those
Khalid Bahan
shits.
doesn't get killed here, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Where was I? Right. She does admit her fuck up and accepts it with humility. There's a coin in the blood, courtesy of Serena's, which the corporal insists is placed in Serap's mouth to ease the passing, which I think is probably part of your religion as well. Maybe? No?
They don't put coins in the mouth. I don't know.
I wasn't thinking ancient Greece because it was like the toll for the boatman, the ferryman rather.
Is it kept inside the mouth?
Yes.
We keep one coin on the forehead.
Right. Well, the roulette had coins everywhere, so they have to strike a balance somewhere. But no, they would put a coin in the dead person's mouth, usually silver, because it was like
Was it Styx, the river?
Yeah.
Okay.
They would pay. It was the toll for Haron, who was the ferryman to take them from the shores of this side of the river Styx to the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't have that, the soul would be lost and wander around endlessly.
I have no idea why we keep a coin. I don't know if there is such a story behind it.
Or maybe just as these guys say, it eases the spirit. Who knows? Maybe spirits are venal.
Or maybe they just picked up random customs from other countries, like yours.
Yeah, that's fair too. Yeah.
It's quite possible. Yeah.
I know we did. Right. The sound the captain's head makes when the soldier pulls it out reminds Parlin of an old childhood memory of a mud basin that was bottomless and would swallow you whole. To quote Haverall, blessed Mother Dark, it begins. It is a symbolism, yes. It is. It's because we can't have a single fucking pointless scene in this book. Just have one scene be filler. Just he kills Serena, he kills Salon and Estala and moves on. That's all. We don't need anything else. Just I am sorry, Kagamandra. I failed you, and I would rather you not see me like this. No symbolism about falling. No, just fuck. I'm fine.
Twilight. I think we can pick up Twilight after this. I think you'll be happy.
Yeah. Go for it. So if there's a silver lining to this, none of them would be going up on report, then Sharinda's execution will prove quite a spectacle, because we cannot have legionnaires be too nice for a change. The soldier pockets the coin, see what I mean? And Parlin is too tired to care.
Yeah. Are we done?
And we are actually just crossed the 2-hour mark. If we stop now, we're not gonna cross the audiobook. Yeah. See?
Yeah. So we have to keep going. We have to be better than the audiobook. Come on.
God below.
Yeah. So it was a good chapter.
One of the advantages of this chapter for me,
it was not like completely good or completely bad, because you had to go through a lot of horrible scenes to get to your favorite scenes.
One good thing about this chapter was it was very focused, right? It's just what's happening in Eretzor. Just that. No more. Yeah. No chapter 4 going from Kaplo to Narat and back again. No diverse shit. No Erisal. None of that. Just what's happening in Eretzor. Terrible shit's happening in Eretzor. Great. I can summarize this.
Yeah.
It's sorted, but you knew that.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Well, actually, never mind. Light has sorcery now. That happened. As an aside.
People have got sorcery, more access to more sorcery. Here, Light is getting sorcery. So, I wonder what else is happening around the world.
Yeah, so as an aside, Hout in the last book had told Coria, rather, wasn't Hout? Anyway, one of the two dragons, either Hout or Varandas, had told Coria that, magic exists throughout the races, every race has magic, so. And she's like, yeah, well, Hout told me that, the Jagged have done this for Lack, the Dog Runners have their own fire magics, the Forgan have theirs, but, do the dice have magic? Well, Hout says so.
I don't
because we're like Mother Dark. Oh, it's last book.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, yeah.
And she basically thinks that, Hout has made her a vessel, right? Or supposedly for the implication is there that it's supposed to be about sorcery. But we don't have explicit confirmation that, light and dark are by nature manifestations of sorcery. which is an interesting distinction because Emerald doesn't have magic.
Yet. I think so. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, so far, right? Because honestly, I don't remember if she gets magic later. But the point is, like, thus far, the Taists don't have magic. The only person who has magic is Mother Dark, obviously.
The Andy don't have magic, so the Leosans have started getting magic.
Who else has magic? Like, Triss has magic, obviously, there's Athanae. Cruel does. Brood ostensibly does.
Don't talk about the Asathanae. It's only the Taists.
And then, the only person among... Well, no, he's not even Tait. Well, technically he's not even alive. Rend had access to the Null.
Who?
Ilgas Rend?
Yeah.
Had access to the Null. But that's it. That's what we have. Nobody else has magic. Which is an interesting distinction because you would think with the manifestation of the Terrandai that the Andy would get magic immediately. No.
Maybe Mother Dark is, not like Sintara just handing out magic to everyone. But
would she hand out magic to Hunral?
No, she wouldn't,
So how did it manifest in Hunral? We're not told. We don't know.
The Terrandai has made the whole thing compact and limited to the Citadel. So,
right. Then why doesn't Emerald have magic?
Because she's too busy staring at her mirror. Maybe the mirror Emerald has magic. Don't laugh. It's very scary. What?
Maybe.
Yeah. So, anything more?
So, God, I'm probably taking Chapter 8 as well. And Chapter 8 is also probably going to be 2 parts because Chapter 8 starts off with Prazak and Dathanar and, Yeah,
you need to. You can't stay away from P&D.
I am a simple man with simple needs.
What is second one? The one I'm going to do?
Would it be spoilers if I discuss it? Yeah, probably.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean...
No, I'm not going to say the names, but yeah. What's 10? 10 is problem. Fine. Right. So.
We'll figure it out as we go along. Yeah.
Shall we wind up?
Yeah. So, just under about 5 minutes before we cross over the audiobook, we are winding up now. It's been a bit over 2 hours, actually, which, God.
But it was a good, there are things happening, lots of things happening. And we had so many digressions, so it's fine.
We did, because I think this chapter lends itself very well to such digressions. Like, there's a lot of things to discuss under the surface here, which is interesting. So, and I hope that's why people watch us still now, because like people actually want, to know what happens in the chapter when they go read it. Like, go read it again. We'll wait here. We're not going anywhere. Go read the chapter again. But yeah. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Maura, for your patience. Because listening to me drone on for 2 hours must have been an experience.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
And
thank you for listening. Have you stopped saying thank you for listening? Because we have pretty good audio.
Right. Yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.